So you mentioned a couple of times about some images you want to show.
Yes, can we do that now?
So we'll set for you'll be in charge.
Yes, I'll just go through them and tell you each one.
We'll put that up, and we'll mix to that, and you'll see them on the big screen. So that's Richard. This is actually part 2 or 3. So
there's me.
Tell us all about that.
Do you know where that's from? That's from the Cornwall UFO conference that you were with. You were there too.
Oh, right. Yes, I was speaking at that.
Do you remember that?
And I was cut off. A previous speaker decided to overrun on my...
oh, really?
Yeah, I lost about 20 minutes on that because he used up my time.
Oh, right.
I was not too annoyed.
So that was when I was doing that conference. So, the first image... Now, this is taken from a Generation 3, so it's quite a powerful night vision scope. And you can see there these spheres in a pattern of a triangle. And there's one to the right of it on its own. Now, these things are seen flying around as a group like that, and they're also seen separating apart and going their own way. Remember, like I said, when I saw those 7 red lights over my school in Uphill, and then they looked like they were all connected, and then they all sort of like flew off, I believe, in different directions. So this is the same sort of thing. Now, this is out in space, and I would probably say low Earth orbit, maybe, I don't know, or just outside in space. But it's certainly high up, and it was going very fast.
Are these pictures you've taken yourself directly?
No, I'll tell you the ones that I've taken. This was caught by a friend of mine who was getting these spheres and telling me about them. That's Leslie Novak. As you can see, following the plane, like I said, and there's 2 of them. There's no jet vapor on that one. I can't see any contrail, but they're following the plane. They're quite close to it by the looks of it. And he's ringed those around so you can see them quite clearly. Now, this one is very high up. Again, this is, I believe, out of Australia, when he's on his roof. And you can see how close it is. Probably not as close as those other 2, but you see the contrail. I don't know if it was on this frame or not, but one of them goes down into the contrail, and then he said all of a sudden you see some of it disappearing, like it's got an eraser and it's rubbing it out, where it's obviously sucking it into the sphere, where they want to check in it for pollution, I suppose. They're very worried about our planet. That's pretty obvious. Now, this is that Star Trek symbol I told you about. When I was doing live feed with, this one's been put onto YouTube. When I did a live feed, when I was doing quite a lot on NASA's ISS, all of a sudden this thing appeared next to the ISS. We zoomed in and got a picture of it, and other people got it as well, quite a few. And you can see, look at that. I mean, what is it? And then they cut to sound bars, and they cut the feed.
What are you saying that is? Is it some kind of V-shaped?
Yeah, I mean
thing, and maybe one of the original types of this craft seen by Kenneth Arnold. Is that right?
It could be. I mean, normally I say, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before." I've seen that before. But
it looked like a crescent-shaped item.
Yeah, I haven't seen this particular craft before, and I haven't seen it through night vision. So, but that was caught. And how it happened was, it was really weird. You had the ISS to your left, low down, and then there was this blank space of sky, and the camera seemed to point towards it as if it noticed something, and then all of a sudden this just appeared, and I thought it was some sort of a joke, and then it went to the coloured bars, and they cut the feed, and then when it came back on again, it was on a completely different view. So they obviously didn't want us to see any more of it. Now, these...
Very interesting, though.
Yeah. There's... some people are saying these are craft, as in, like, proper, like, craft that have got people in them. I've seen these above Western, and they hover, and they rotate either clockwise or anti-clockwise, and if you get your binoculars, you can see them spinning really hard like that, and they're just hovering, and you're thinking, what's keeping it up? You know, what's the propulsion? And in a minute I'll show you what I think it's doing. because I call that, or some of those anyway, I call them sphere carriers. And you'll see why in a minute. Because these spheres that you can see every day through your camcorder, if you get that with the filter, you wonder where they come from, where they go. Well, they seem to be ejected from these things, these cigar-shaped craft. And I have photos of that to prove to you that that is happening. This is an old NASA photo. When I used to go through the NASA photos and try and bring out anything that I could see, I'm thinking, oh, is there something there? Just lighten it up a bit. And look. That's Earth, by the way. And that is some sort of weird, looks like a saucer-shaped craft with a bit cut out of it. Yeah, very odd. That was taken, I think, in the 70s. Right, this was taken by John Wilson through his telescope. He caught 2 of our spheres. I call them ET drones. I think he calls them the same now as well. And he said, Rich, I've got 2. I said, right, okay. He said, check this out. So he sent me all the photos. I said, it looks like a dumbbell. He said, yeah. So I'll call it a dumbbell sphere. And he said, they're 2 very much close together. And he said, I'm sure at one point they were connected. And I said, they probably were, and they've just come apart. And you can see the colour of them. Now, this is quite high up. This is probably around about 30,000 feet, maybe a bit more. And by the way, he tracked this. It left the Earth's atmosphere and went into space, and it was heading towards the moon, and he'd lost it. I do have other photos of this, and you can see that it's not got blue in the background, it's got black, where it obviously was going even higher up. And there we go, there it is. That's probably at 90,000 feet. And that's just leaving the Earth's atmosphere. Look at the colours on that. They look very similar, don't they, to the colours of the Star Trek symbol craft that I caught from the ISS. I thought that was quite interesting. You got those blues, you got those purples, you got those greens. Similar sort of colour, right? What is this, NASA? I like that, it's good. He did a good job there. And you see on the left of it, again, they're together, but you see it's starting to get a bit darker as it's going higher up. And by the looks of the blurriness on that, they were going quite fast. And then they started to slow down, and by the looks of it, as they've left the Earth's atmosphere, going into space, they're connected back up again. Because they look connected there in that one. Right, this is a very old photo of what you would call a cigar-shaped UFO. And it says there, it was caught in Mount Washington, New Hampshire.
Well, I've used the term Draco cargo ship
Yeah.
because of the data from Penny Bradley, who
Yeah.
used to fly those things for the Draco, allegedly.
Yeah, Draco cargo ship, yeah. Allegedly, yeah. But yeah, fair enough. So I thought I'd put that one out there because it just shows you how, I mean, that's 1870, winter of, and we were able to get an image of that. So they've always been here. Right, that was above my house.
I've put the term TR3B
Yeah, I see you've
alpha
done
on
that.
that. That's
Yeah.
not your term, but is this... Explain that.
Okay, so it was 3:30 Sunday afternoon. My son was washing his car. I was out the front. It was a lovely day. All of a sudden, heard this crack of thunder. Looked up at the sky, and there was a thundercloud coming over. It got darker. So I ran in, got my cell phone, and went click, 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 click. Took 5 shots at the sky. I went from where there was no thundercloud, and I went across, because I wanted to make sure I could catch something if there was anything up there. Because I couldn't see anything, obviously. It was too high up. That's it zoomed in. And as you can see, there's no lights on it. There looks like there's some sort of propulsion coming out of the back of it, but there was no sound, nothing. And there it is, a bit further away, as you can see. And the third one...
It looks as if it's below the cloud there.
Yes, it is. It's going into the...
So this is very important in terms of taking pictures, people.
Yeah.
Always get something in the picture which can give depth or some kind of scale
And this
or
one.
distance.
And there it is. This is it.
No.
And I bet you can't see it, can you? But you see what I mean, though? Well, the right hand...
I have to say...
Can you see it?
That there are similar pictures taken by a previous interviewee I did, and you can see, once you know there's something there, something making a gap in the cloud.
Yeah, you have to zoom in, but it's there, trust me. So we got the photos back to front, but that's the first one. And then obviously that would be the second one. and that would be the third one. So that's basically how it went. Because I clicked, okay, I had 5 like that on my phone. And so what I do, I explain, so you guys can do this at home as well with your cell phone. If you think there might be something up there, click off, I don't know, 5 or 6 frames.
Yes, very important.
Yeah, click off 5 or 6 frames. Then on your first frame, touch it, magnify it. I know it's a bit laborious, but you go through it, you check from the top right-hand corner. I go all the way down, then go back up, go down, go back up. So you do like a grid pattern over your photo, just to see if there's anything there. First one, I got nothing. Second one, there was a black dot, and I thought, right, I'll enlarge that, and it was a crow. Third one, nothing. Fourth one, I thought I saw something. No, that was just a seagull. Fifth one, I did the same thing again, which is this one, okay, that photo there. I start to enlarge it, black dot, oh, that's the crow again. And this is a true story. I went to erase it, to touch the trash can on my phone. I went, yeah, but is it? I thought I already had erased that one. Then I enlarged it and got that. Thank God I didn't delete it. And I went, oh my God, I got a triangle craft.
That's a good point you're saying there, is to generally shoot wide, but always hold your phone horizontal so you get all the resolution available to the picture. If you hold your phone vertical, you're losing 75% of the available pixels.
So that was above my house. It was last summer. It was towards the end of the summer last year. So that's 2024.
This is an off-screen picture.
Yeah, now you can see from the weird wavy lines, this was taken on my, unfortunately it's very bad, I know, but this was taken off my TV screen. What I was trying to do was show you, this is the beginning of the fires in California, the very first part of when the fires very first started. And how we got this was from a tree cam, which was at the bottom of a mountain, and it just happened to be on, and it caught the very first part of the fire. And they happened to show it because I was thinking, where did the fires actually start from? And eventually we found it on one of the YouTube channels. This was where it first started, and we happened to catch it off this camera. And I thought, oh great, I'll have a look, see if I can find anything. There must be something here. And sure enough, there it was. And that little, not the white thing, the black.
If you want to go up and actually, we've got a camera for you to sort of just walk up to the screen and point.
I'll just see if the okay. It was the only one. I thought I had more than one, but
you should have enough length there in the mic.
Yeah.
For God's sake, don't break it.
That there.
Okay.
Is what I'm looking at. Okay. This is. I know it looks like a square, but it was actually a sphere, and it's one of these spheres that I've been showing to you. That's behind the planes. So that's what that was. And this is the beginning of the fire, when it was just white smoke, nothing much going on, just a fire. And of course we know what happened in the end, right? That, unfortunately, is the flash from my phone. So ignore that. And all these wavy lines obviously is from the TV screen. It's an awful picture, I know, but I wanted to show that because it's important. They are, where there's disasters, 9 times out of 10, you will see spheres. All right, it doesn't matter what the disaster is, even wars, but they won't interfere, they'll just observe. So in wars, they let you shoot each other and let you kill each other, they're not bothered. It's only when they start to mess with nukes that they will intervene. But they are observers, they're voyeurs. They like to watch and learn and see what we're doing. Right. I don't know if anyone knows who Alison Kruse is.
Explain.
She was a lady that I used to chat to, who lived in America. I can't remember exactly whereabouts. And she used to use night vision like Ed Grimsley did. This is generation 3, by the way. And she said, Richard, I'm getting activity all the time. I think she had a farm, if I remember rightly. Yeah, she had a big farm with a lot of land. Very similar to Nina, right? But Nina didn't have a farm. And she said, Richard, I'm seeing these like orbs, and I'm seeing like mini suns that come out in the middle of the night. And I said, wow, can you get video of it? And she said, yeah, I'm videoing them all the time. I'll send you some. And this is great because do you remember the story I told you about Nina with the beams coming down at a 45-degree angle? Well, look at that. That's what I saw. except there was two beams coming down, and the light at the top was more kidney shaped, and it was oscillating backwards.
So they
and
are
forwards.
coming from the sky down,
Yes.
or
They're coming from the sky down. It moved from left to right, and as it moved across, the beam stayed like that. It was obviously taking something up. Probably.
do you want to go up and stand beside the monitor?
Yeah,
if you want?
I think it was probably taking up soil or something, probably just like it did at Nina's. But you see, we got the trees here.
Hold on, let's just get him on the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, you see here, there's the orb, okay? Like in my case, it was more kidney shaped. I know it's difficult to see here, but it just looks round. It may have been, but it wasn't oscillating. And I've seen the video of it. I've seen the whole. This is basically frames from the video, and I've seen the whole video of it moving across, and it just stays like that and just goes from left to right. Here we have the tree line. It's in front of another tree here, and as it goes along, it then gets hidden behind a bigger tree which is at the front, and it's probably taking berries, soil, or something up from the ground. It looks like it was searching for something, but I think it was just taking up foliage, something like that, like it was doing at Nina's. And this was in the United States, in her farm, and she said she's seen that quite a lot. So it's not the first time it's been there. Sometimes it has the beam on, sometimes it has the beam off. And there is Aristarchus, the crater I was telling you about. I can't remember what the name of the other one is, but that's the one there with the arrow pointing to it, where we have seen a craft come out, a Tic Tac craft.
Do you want to go and point that out?
Yeah, certainly.
Since we've got the availability.
Might as well, yeah. So, okay, this is Aristarchus, where we believe there's a base underneath. Sometimes it looks like this. This is a NASA photo, by the way, taken by NASA. As you can see the crosshairs. But occasionally it'll have a dome come over it, and when we saw the Tic Tac come out that John luckily caught on his telescope, it came out from here, and there was no dome at this point. It looked like that, perfectly, exactly like that, and the Tic Tac craft just came out through the soil, and it came all the way out like that. I'm speeding it up a little bit because it was slower than that, and then it turned, and then it went that way out until we couldn't see it anymore, until it went into space. So that 100% is a base of some kind. There's something underneath there. And that's called Aristarchus. And if you look at it at night, you'll see that crater glow, and it's around about the 9 o'clock position here in the UK. And there it is. Now this is the same crater. Yeah, that's the same crater. That's Aristarchus. Look at that. And that's what John saw. We didn't see that like that when the craft came out. It just looked normal. But that's what it looks like sometimes. So sometimes it looks like the crater you just saw before, the frame before. Other times it can look like that. So it can change.
Looks like an illuminated structure.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean though? With these slats, doesn't that look like some sort of like a dome? Like this could be, I don't know, glass or something, or perspex. I don't know. And there's something very powerful in the middle there. And then it's illuminating out. It's obviously reflecting, isn't it? It's shooting out some sort of light, because you can see down here similar sort of colours, and then it dissipates away. And even this one has been affected a little bit. In fact, that might be part of that, and it might be connected. And then we've got another crater over here which we can't see. And even this down here, I don't know. But that is Aristarchus, when it looks like a base. And yes, we have seen it like that. Right. This is a craft that's been seen here in the UK. I call it the Death Ray Spinner. She spins around.
That sounds like a non-structured statement there.
Yeah.
Death Ray Spinner.
Well, this one, John Molson's actually caught this as well. So obviously this isn't John Molson's photo, but do you see the gap in the middle? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've got a photo I can show you in a minute of this craft, or one like this, with a purple beam that comes out of the centre. And it was when the Colombian shuttle was coming back in, and we remember with the Columbia, it broke up on re-entry, and Fox News had the helicopter, and it was waiting for it to come back. And of course, unfortunately, they didn't realise it was going to happen, but she fell apart, and then all we saw was the debris coming through the sky. Just before that happened, the helicopter picked up one of these. And they thought, Fox News thought that that was the space shuttle. Not this actual picture, but one like this.
So where did that picture come from?
And they then switched it immediately. They turned the camera away. And then they realised it wasn't the space shuttle. And then, of course, they went back on and they caught the debris coming down. And I've actually got photos of that, which I can show you. And I caught it off a YouTube video years ago. When they first put it out, Fox News had it. But if you look for that now, you won't find it. And funnily enough, I've spoken to several people on the internet.
We've got that labelled as Pescara, Italy.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you the NASA one, the Fox News one in a minute. But just to show you that this is it closer up. And that's where I got the name Death Ray Spinner from. But yeah, this one's from Italy. Looks menacing, doesn't it?
You're not messing about there. Again, that's a John Walson thing, is it? No, it's
yeah. He's seen this one as well.
Yeah,
but that's not his. They're not all in order but I'll just go through each one and explain because it is important. Here is a very old document going back a long, long time ago, and you see what they're trying to predict here. Look, there's my cigar-shaped sphere carrier. Look what's inside, and look what's coming out of them. But don't worry, I've got an up-to-date photo of this showing exactly this happening above a house where I used to live. Okay, so I can show you that in a sec. But look at it. These are the rod-shaped things. Look, there's all the spheres in the sky. This reminds me of the old satellite, what they call it, the Black Knight, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what that's trying to represent. Could be wrong, of course. But there's your sphere carrier. But this is the bit that I don't like the look of. Down here at the right, you've got a village, obviously. People are going, oh no. And look what's happening with the spheres. They're coming down and they're setting fire to these straw roofed houses.
Are you suggesting there may be a modern version of this, for instance, in Los Angeles?
Yeah, that's what I'm basically getting to. I know. It's not, I mean, it's obviously a lot of people lost their homes, some people lost their lives, but I am saying that it is a possibility that the fires were started by one of these spheres. And look, this obviously happened. This is basically how they used to record their news back in the day. But anyway, that's another theory of mine. I could be wrong, of course, but it's only a theory, but you can see from that image there, it doesn't look good. Right, there we go. I think that's self-explanatory. Fox News alert, space shuttle apparently disintegrates over Texas. So what they did, you can't find this video anymore. I've spoke to loads of people. Yeah, said, Rich, yeah, we knew about the video. We seen it too. You are right. We can't find it either. And I was like, no, I need this video. I need this video. It's so important. And then they said to me, Rich, if you go on images, you can find an image of it. And I went, oh, great. So I went on the images and I found an image of it. So unfortunately, I don't have the video anymore, although I did have it. So all I can do to you now is explain exactly what happened. So I was watching Fox News on their video, because obviously I only saw it on after the event. And you see they're talking, they got the helicopter up, the cameraman is in the helicopter looking out over the sky of Texas. And then all of a sudden, he catches that. Obviously they think that's the space shuttle, and then they just turn it away, and then when they turn back again, you start to see the debris as it's coming through the atmosphere. But look at this. I know it's not easy to see, but trust me, there is a purple beam coming out of this. On these pictures, you can't really see it. You can see a bit of purple there. There's something here, but you can't.
Yeah, I
really
think if you
but there is a beam.
People will see it. If I cut to the
on the video, you see it as plain as day. Your video, you see the beam coming out. So I said to my brother John about it. I said, I think this thing may have shot it down. I don't know. And he said, Rich, I think you'll find that the space shuttle was already breaking up at this point. Maybe that beam is coming out to get the astronauts off the shuttle. I don't know, maybe he was right, maybe he wasn't.
There have been independent reports on another incident where a Navy officer was beamed off a plane that crashed at Goodwood. Or landed, forcibly landed.
But either way, that's basically the same craft. As you can see the split in the middle, I know, like I said, the image isn't great. It was taken off, well, obviously that's just a image I found off the internet, but it was much better than that on the actual video. But you can see there's something going on there, and that's not a space shuttle. Here is in 2023 in Torbay, we had an air show going on down in Devon, and these are the red arrows. They love the red arrows. I got so many images. Some people say, oh, it's an insect, and I thought it was too, but checking out, there's other frames as well as this, and it is actually like a, it's not a sphere as such, it's more like a, it's hard to explain, like a little box that was flying around. And some people say, oh, it could have been a drone.
What sort of era is this?
2023.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so this was June.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
see
it wasn't. Sorry, it was April. So it's coming up now, 6th of April, 2023 this was. Yeah. But they love the red arrows. They're always, I mean, air shows anyway, they're always flying around.
I mean, it wouldn't be a drone.
This is what I mean. I mean, I thought that was a drone, but then there's other photos of this image taken in different angles, and you can see it's not a drone. I don't know if I've got any more of them.
This is Rod.
There's your Rod, yeah. That's a close-up one of just showing you the example with the fins, taken at high speed. Right, this is what I was telling you about with the sphere carrier. So this is taken up above the old place where I used to live. That's a rod. Okay, not a rod, sorry, a tube.
If you stand a little bit further back from the screen, I've got it on the other camera.
Oh, good.
Can you see that?
Can you see that?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There's the sphere carrier,
Yeah.
and these are all the spheres been ejected from it. That's up a close-up view of another one. That's not that. That's a different one again, just to show you. And again, you've got some spheres up there, you see. So basically, this comes along. And next thing you know, you've got what look like balloons everywhere. And they're all clustered together. And then all of a sudden they'll start to separate and fly off in different directions. Now, John Wilson, again, phones me, excited. Richard, I've got your spheres. They're coming over my home. And they're like one every minute. I said, well, it sounds like they've obviously ejected them near where you live. He said, yeah, I haven't found the sphere carrier yet. I said, well, look out for it. It might be around your area, but if you're getting one a minute, they've obviously just been ejected. And he was getting I've got another one. I've got another one. And they're like little golf balls in the sky and they're going over me. And I said, yeah, I know, that's it. It's exactly what they are. And I think he counted something like 30, 35 in the end. He never saw the sphere carrier, but I did tell him to look out for it. It probably had shot off after it dispensed its load. Right, this is another one with the sphere. That, I'm not sure what that is. That could be a plasma ball, but that's a Virgin Atlantic plane. This is a cargo plane, so this is not holding people, this is holding cargo, so it'll have probably about a crew of 6.
If you can stand a wee bit closer to the banner, it just means we can see that on the...
Right,
okay.
Can you see where the arrow's pointing?
Yeah.
That is a ball. See the ball? Oh, it's one of those spheres. Look how close it is to the plane. I mean, you don't get any closer than that. There's an old video, I don't know if you've seen it, or a cine film of Concorde, and it's flying, and it goes up like that, and then goes back down again. It's one of those. Looking through the windows, and then goes back down again. And that's caught, brilliant photo that. Brilliant photo.
Who took those?
I don't know. I don't know who took that, but it's one I found when I Googled with the spheres, because mine are in there with them, and they all seem to put them together. So, and there you see a close-up of it. There it is, lower down. It's coming up, and there she is there. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that, does it? Right
Can
on
you
the
point
wing.
that out again?
There is the sphere there,
Yeah.
coming up, and there she is on the back. So that's where it ended up, right on the back wing tip, the tail of the plane. And you see how big it is. We know how big this is. A 747 SP400, okay, cargo plane. Look how big that is. I mean, you can see what the windows would be there.
Yeah, that's actually. Yeah, that's.
It is quite big. It is quite big. I mean, that's what, I don't know, big truck size in spherical form. It's quite big. And imagine one of those hitting the front of your plane, and especially if you're in a small plane, say you're in a Cessna
That
182.
would wipe it out.
I mean, that would be game over. Which is why sometimes when you hear planes fall out of the sky, out of a clear blue sky, no weather, and it's like the pilot hasn't reported any problems with the plane, and next thing you know, it's on the ground, all crumpled up. There's a possibility it may have been hit by one of those. And I think a lot of these accidents that happen nowadays could be resulted from these things just getting
There's
too
certainly
close.
a hell of a lot of stuff happening these days. Bearing in mind, this is the 29th of March 2025. We're recording. We're live on Bases TV. Facebook page here live at the moment.
This was taken obviously from this plane's high, and obviously the person saw something going towards it. As you can see there, I don't know, I don't think it hit it, but it's getting pretty close. They love to get very close to our planes. Very, very close. I mean, theoretically speaking, you know, how is that? You know, we shouldn't have to be. I mean, put it another way. If you're driving along the M5 in your car, and you knew that was flying around like 5-10 feet above the road, the motorway, would you drive along it? No, you could probably hit it. You'd stay away, wouldn't you? They have no choice. They don't know. I mean, they're up there all the time. And these are the spheres that you can see if you get the camcorder and the filter. You'll see these, and you'll see them for yourself. You'll realise then that they are basically getting very close to our our helicopters and planes. I think that's the end.
That might be it.
Yeah, that's it. So, to wrap everything up, I think basically, if you want to do your own research and basically, you know, carry on doing what I'm doing, because I'm not going to be able to do this forever. I'm getting on, I'm 62 now, and I can't go out at 3 o'clock in the morning in the winter and stay outside for 3 hours, 4 hours, like I used to. Or watch the ISS live feed for God knows how many hours at a time. So what I'm doing is I've got other people that help me out now, and they do it for me, and then they send me stuff when they catch things. So a lot of what I've told you today is from other people as well. It's not just me. Okay, it's a joint effort. So what I'm saying is, the more of us that do this, the more of us that get the equipment and get out there. The younger guys out there, warm-blooded guys, you know, you're interested in this, get yourself a pair of night visions or an old camcorder with that massive filter, get out there, start recording, getting these craft and get the truth out there and continue on, because I'm not going to be here forever. I've continued on for the people that have left behind. You know, I've lost so many friends over the years that have been doing this. I've lost count how many people have passed away. Some of them suspiciously, some of them naturally.
Do you want to talk about that?
I mean,
This is your opportunity to...
Yeah, with Kevin Smith, there was... You know, I spoke to him the night... I mean, I literally spoke to him hours before he passed, because I knew he'd come out of hospital. He went in for a blood transfusion.
So who is this guy?
This is Kevin Smith.
Explain who these individuals are.
Yes, Kevin Smith was the guy who did the radio show for years and years in his home, and then took it to YouTube and had his own
what
YouTube
channel?
Called the Kevin Smith Show on YouTube.
Okay.
Which is no more. The one where I did the 2-hour show that obviously disappeared weeks after it was put up. He went in for a blood transfusion, came out. I spoke to him, asked him how he was, and he said, yeah, I'm okay, I'm feeling a bit tired, but otherwise I'm all right. And he said, would you like to come back on my show again at some point when you've done a bit more research? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. He said, good, I'll have you back on again, maybe in a month's time. I said, yeah, that's fine. I said, well, have a good night. I'll speak to you soon, Kevin. He said, yeah, love you, bye. And then the next day, at around about 11 o'clock in the morning, these posts kept coming up with Kevin Smith passing away. And I thought, well, it must be that comedian guy. And then I realised it wasn't. It was my good friend, ufologist and researcher, because he did a bit of his own research as well. And yeah, it was Kevin Smith who did the radio show and the YouTube show. He did a podcast thing as well. So
keep talking about those you feel need mentioning.
Yeah, and then I did a bit of research on it, and there was, yeah, I don't know, it was a bit weird how he passed, but...
What do you mean by weird?
Well, he had another friend, I won't mention his name, but he told me he wasn't happy with the outcome of the post-mortem. He thinks there was more to it than that. And I didn't go into it any further. But he said, I think something happened with his blood or something. They contaminated his blood. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. And then there was Ed Grimsley, the way he passed. And isn't it weird? It was the same thing. Now thinking about it, he went in. He had to get his blood changed every now and again. He had to take his blood out and put fresh blood in. And when he came over to the UK, he told me all about this, so I knew. And this again, he went in to have it all redone. And then the next thing I know, he passed away in his sleep. And there's like a pattern there, you know. It's weird. Like, are they doing? I don't know. Are they putting something in their blood?
What's the common connection here?
Are they trying to finish them off? Oh, I don't know. It's and then like Kevin Smith, all his videos started disappearing. Mine was one of them. Not all of them went, but mine was one of them. Ed Grimsley, all his stuff that he put up on his videos, Night Vision, Star Wars, that all started disappearing. So they disappear, they pass away, and then all their stuff disappears and passes away. Weeks later, you know, I don't know.
Sometimes you can never die on Facebook or YouTube, but they certainly manage to keep things up, take it away.
I had another chap who, because like I said, I'm into my watches, he had a watch channel. I won't mention his name.
What do you mean by a watch channel?
Yeah.
You're talking about TikTok watching.
Sorry, you know, wristwatches.
Yeah, wristwatches.
Yeah, wristwatches. We're into wristwatches. And he was into UFOs and everything as well. And he says, Rich, I'm going to have you on my show. We set it all up. Next thing I know, he's passed away. That was really sudden. We were supposed to do the show 2 weeks earlier, but we couldn't do it because his dog had died, and I understood that. I thought, yeah, obviously, you know, you're not in the right state of mind. So then I messaged him a few days after. I said, sorry, I hear about your dog passing. He said, oh, thanks, Rich. Yeah, we had him for a long time. And then he said, we'll set it back up again for the end of the month. I said, that's great, which was in like 2.5 weeks' time. And then that gets to the 2.5 weeks, and then I notice he's not replying to my messages. And then his wife comes on and speaks to me and says that he passed in his sleep. Okay, so another one gone. So there was this pattern of just dropping off. It just seemed rather weird. And he wasn't necessarily a researcher into UFOs or a ufologist or anything. He was into watches, but he started to go on to other platforms and started to mingle into this, and delve into it. And he liked what I was doing. And we got on well because we both like watches anyway. And next thing I know, he wanted to interview me. I went, yeah, that's great. We can talk about watches and we can talk about UFOs. And next thing I know, he's passed. And he wasn't that old. I mean, he was probably in his 40s, late 40s maybe, about 46.
Well, I would like to mention Tony Dodd.
Yeah. How about Max?
Max was assassinated by a conspiracy of
Yeah.
secret German intelligence, which is not normally on the public side of things.
No.
Tony Dodd, Ken Phillips, and a guy who used to run UFOing.
Oh, yes.
He had an
Yes.
accident in
Yeah, I
on
remember that.
holiday,
That's right.
and that's going back to the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Quite a few people. Ken Phillips was definitely taken out. That's he used to run editor before her. However, let's not end on a depressing situation.
No.
What I'm very greatly appreciate that your connection with Radio Nova. That was a great spirited time, and you were in there, and it's on the tail end of the history of that radio station run by Chris Carey out of Camberley.
Met some lovely
Originally
people.
out of Radio Nova in Dublin, 1982, and that's on the Irish era of pirate radio, which I'm putting the camera tapes up on basistv.com. That's the unedited camera tapes as shot in 1982, and we're progressing on from there. The Irish era of pirate radio, which spawned Sky Television and multi-channel choice of stuff in our broadcasting in Great Britain and ultimately Ireland, the United Kingdom, this area, Great Britain, the British Isles. So that's great that you're a DJ on that way, right? Okay, so really good to see you.
Thank you.
It's a big deal, and you've been doing this a long time, and I really appreciate you coming the whole way down the M5 to a
Yes.
little old place stuck in the middle of crop circle country. We don't want to talk about things like that.
No. Well, I wanted it done properly, and I wanted to get everything out, so that's why I came to you rather than doing it over the internet, because this is,
I
to
think
me,
it's great. It's great,
important.
and that's what this facility's for.
Yeah.
So we can do things like this.
Get it as clear as possible and
Yeah.
get the information out there, because it's so
And,
important.
That's we do a number of things here on Egypt and things. That's in pause mode at the moment. About the Earth's crust rotating. I'm not on camera, but the Earth's crust rotating. And there's a number of theories about that. So, any last words? Any final things you want to get across?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, as many people as you can get out there and do this, and I'd suggest do it. You will see a lot of stuff. You just need to get the right equipment, really. And
There are new full spectrum cameras available. I don't think they're that expensive, but they cover the UV. They cover UV and infrared. So there's
that's it.
And there's objects in the visible spectrum you won't see.
No, that's right.
If you can not see something in the visible spectrum, but that's very important. And you've been doing a lot of this work, and there's a lot of nice people that have left us. But let's move on.
There's a lot of nice people that are still here as well. So yeah. And like I said, if you guys can get out there and just get these equipment.
How do people get hold of you or contact you, or you're on Facebook?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Richard Lennie Ufologist, Lennie. I am also on Instagram as well, under the same name. Also, occasionally, I did set up a YouTube channel, but I haven't actually started it yet.
You get if you breathe air, you get strikes on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've left that. So yeah, so basically Facebook is where you get me if you want to talk to me. If you want to, send me your photos and show me what you've got. If you've seen anything here today that you recognise and you think, oh, I've seen that, or I've got a photo like that, yeah, by all means, send it to me via Facebook, and we can converse there. But
and we have mentioned John Walson. John Walson, far above. And I'll get the book. If you keep talking, I'll get the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just saying about John Walson, he, we've done a lot of research together, and he's got the equipment. Trust me, he's got a very powerful telescope. You can get almost to the moon's surface, and he's improving it all the time, getting really good shots.
Yeah. Well, here's a book. And that's Far Above Space and Time. It's available on Amazon. There is a bit of a hissy fit and a tantrum row happening with this, but this is a really important book. is full of loads of pictures from the great Leonard Wolfson. And there he is. He's done a heck of a lot of work contributing to the subject. And this is just some random pictures of the stuff. I mean, there's this stuff. I mean, this is just an example. There is this kind of stuff flying up in space. So that's from 2006, so it's not around anymore. But there's lots of stuff flying around up there in space, and do really support him and get this book. I think it's about $40. I think from Amazon or at your local independent bookstore, such as Devises Books. In Devises gets you any book you need. She does a heck of a good job, Joe at Devises Books, and they really do a fantastic job. Well, we've had just kick the microphone. I think we're still live on Facebook, and good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And we're going to close down the operation here, and then I have to stick it all together as an edit. And that's 2 hours, 33 minutes on this section and 1.5 hours old on the other one. And we'll put this up as a recorded, as live thing. And I really appreciate you coming down here. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Miles.
And also, Colin Wolford was sort of knocking on the door. What about having you down here? And it's really good that you've been able to come down here. And the big surprise is Radio Nova, the pirate radio station out of Dublin, 1980, 81, 82, and ultimately on the Astra satellite in the early 90s. So we've mentioned that. God bless Chris Carey, Tony Allen, and a lot of other good people from Radio Caroline who put that on.
And also Keith
and
Lewis.
Robbie Dale as well from Sunshine Radio.
Yeah.
So on that, I will mix to the. I don't have the other camera. I've only got one go. I've restricted the number of cameras I've got here. Right. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. We're testing this, going live on Facebook. Finally getting things back on that. Since we were deplatformed in, I think, 2021, lost to YouTube. So we're using this facility more often. It's a facility. If you've got things you want to do, we set the thing up here and we'll put that out and go live and multiply record it as well. And that's what we're going to be doing, the edit on that. Thank you very much. I think we've said enough. And, well, let's mix to the blue screen of Windows and say goodnight. Bye-bye for now.